What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Anthony McLemore, and in this video I want to show you how to turn this mediocre picture into this awesome thumbnail. So if you're a small content creator or aspiring social media influencer, this will be a good video for you to watch all the way until the end, because you will learn a lot of neat tricks in Adobe Photoshop in order to make your pictures look so amazing. So to go on a little bit of a tangent before we get right into the video, I just want to announce that this past week has been amazing. We've been going really fast over on Instagram. We're almost at 20,000 followers. We might be there by the time this video posts. And we also secured our first official sponsorship. Now, I want to do an entire video on the sponsorship because it actually is with a pretty big and notable company. And I was pretty amazed to get approved for the brand ambassadorship in the first place. But there's a surprise in this video, but it's not actually from the big company that I'm going to be talking about on Thursday. Hint, hint. But the surprise is that we actually got our first piece of free gear as a social media influencer, if you say. And it was from this company, Rising Star. They sent me a free package in order to get me to do a sponsored post over on Instagram. If I did the post already, I'll put the picture up after I unbox this, but this is my first official unboxing on this channel, so let's see how it goes. So I know in order to unbox something, you need something pretty sharp. So I have some tweezers, some scissors might work, but we need something a little bit bigger than that. Haha! This will work. All right, so let's get right into the unboxing. I already know what this is simply because I picked it out on the website for them to ship it to me, but let's get right into it so I can show you guys what it is. Alright, here we go. It's a nice black t-shirt. It's from the company Rising Star. They're actually a pretty new company over on Instagram, and they sell t-shirts and some pretty amazing gear. As I said, I did do a sponsor post over my Instagram story. I'll pull that picture up here. And this is a pretty cool picture because I sat on top of my car to get the cool sky in the background, which is pretty amazing. But thank you for Rising Star for sending me that t-shirt. This is not a sponsored video, but that was a sponsored post. And I just want to give a quick shout out to them. And that leads me to another point that I'll probably be doing another video on how to reach out to brands to get brands to sponsor you in your videos as a small content creator. But that is coming soon. I know the intro was way too long, so let's get right into the purpose of this video, which is making thumbnails. So I truly believe that having a good thumbnail can make it or break it in the first initial impression of your videos. Even if your content isn't all that great, if you have a pretty professional looking thumbnail, then you can get by it and get a lot more clicks on your videos. So as I said earlier, to make this picture go to this thumbnail, it's going to be really simple, and all you're going to need is a few clip art images, some Photoshop skills, and a little bit of magic to put it all together. So I'm about to walk you through my entire process of what I go through. So as I go to share my screen with you guys now, this is a picture I was working on the other day. We don't need that anymore. We're going to create a new blank template, and I have this pre-saved a YouTube thumbnail. So for a YouTube thumbnail, you want an image to be about 1280 to 720, which is what is recommended by YouTube for that size of the thumbnail. So we're going to go to 1280 by 720 at 300 ppi, and now we have this blank slate. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to drag the picture that I've already taken over to my workspace. So I drag that onto my workspace. It's actually not a bad picture of me, honestly. So I place that on my workspace, and then I take out the background because I don't really need it anymore. So I delete the bottom layer, and now I have this. So before we can do any edits on this image, we have to rasterize it, because if we don't, we won't be able to have any deletions or any editing effect going on. I'm not the best in Photoshop, so if some of my explanations don't make sense, I recommend watching another YouTube video, but this is just the process I go through when I do things. So I right click on the image and I click rasterize layer, and now I can do some edits. So if I want to cut out something, I can do that. Now the first thing I want to do is remove the background, so it's just me in the image and not all of my desk and things. So what I can do now is I can go to my properties and I can scroll all the way down. They actually have a quick function called remove background. This doesn't always work the best for me because my hair and some parts of my body tend to blend in with my background, so we'll see if it works now. So I'm going to click remove background. This is by far one of the quickest ways to remove the background, and it actually did a pretty good job. You can see that it has some things I need to clean up in here, but for the most part, it is okay. So now that we have the background removed part, we want to go into our eraser tool, which is right here, and click eraser tool. And we're going to hold the Alt button and zoom in and clean up some of the other mistakes that the remove tool didn't get. This doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's for a thumbnail. It's usually pretty small, so you don't have to get very perfect with your cleanup here. I just want to make it look really natural, so it's not any lumps in my head or anything like that. If you want to make the tool smaller, then click the left bracket key, and that'll make it smaller and give you a little bit more precision when you're working. So I'm just going to do this around the whole image and give it a little bit of a cleaner look, and I'll time lapse myself doing this. All right, this seems good enough for the purpose of the thumbnail. And now what I want to do, because the theme of the last thumbnail was prison related, I want to change the color of my jacket to orange to have a sort of prison jacket feel. But first, before I do that, I want to remove any lingering logos so it doesn't take away from the image. So that's extremely simple as well. All you want to do is select the quick selection tool and go over each part that you want to remove. If it gets too big, you can either undo it or you can hold the Alt key and just take out which part that was too much. So now that I have my selection selected, I can click Shift and then Backspace, and now it will bring me to this fill screen. And basically what the fill screen does, it just fills the area that you have with another piece of the image, so it covers it up. That's what I think it does anyway, but make sure it's on content aware. You really want to make sure it's on content aware, and the opacity is at 100%. So when I click OK, it covers it up pretty nicely. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the Under Armour logo over here. In order to get out of selection, just press Control D. And I'm going to do the same thing for the Under Armour logo, and I'm going to Shift Backspace and then cover it up just like that. So I see a little bit lingering logos over here. As I said, it always selects a little bit too big for my taste. So I'm going to Shift Delete again. And now that looks pretty good. Press Control D to get out of it. And I know you can see a little bit of lingering Under Armour effects. If you really want to get finicky, you can take that out as well. But at this point, I like it the way it is. So now I'm pretty much wearing a blank unbranded jacket. Now the next thing we want to do, we want to change this jacket from the color it is to an orange color. Now this may seem difficult, but it's pretty easy, and it was very easy once I learned how to do it. So what you want to do is you want to go back to your quick selection tool again and just select only the jacket. So you can see I did select a little bit of outer part here. I'm just going to hold Alt and deselect that portion and try to get as close as I can to what I want. As I said, this does not have to be perfect because it's only for a thumbnail. So now that we have this selection done, what we want to do is right click and click layer via copy. And once we have this, we can hide our previous layer and see we have a pretty good cutout of the jacket. Now once we have a cutout of the jacket, the next part is extremely simple. All you want to do is create a new adjustment layer of solid color. So you click on this little circle that's halfway colored in and click solid color. And then once you click solid color, you then want to right click and create a clipping mask. Now that you created a clipping mask, you just go to blending mode. And for my blending mode, I usually like to click linear burn. So now obviously this doesn't look as good, but once you go to the lighter colors, it does start to look a little bit better. Now that you can see, as I change the colors on my color picker, I can also change the color of my jacket. So since the color of the prison jacket was orange, I'm going to change that to orange. Now we have myself in an orange jacket ready for the rest of the thumbnail. So now what I like to do is merge all of these layers together because I have the image that I want. And now it's time to bring in the rest of the pieces of the thumbnail. And for that, I have a pre-selected stock background that I use for every thumbnail. And it's simply just a black gradient background. I like to drag it over the picture and press place. And if it goes over your image, you can just drag it above it and they'll bring it back above. If your image is not in the right place, you can click the move tool and move it to where you want it. I had it about right here. And I also forgot that I usually brighten up my image before I put it on the thumbnail. So how you would do that is go to adjustments once you click on a layer and just click brightness and contrast and give yourself a little bit more brightness. And you don't want it to brighten the background as well. So what you would do is just create a clipping mask. So now that we have our picture, what we need now is our words. And to do my words are simple as well. I'm just gonna use some text font this time. And what I would do, I would just create a text box. I'm gonna just type thumbnail at the bottom, and I would make it as big as I can for it not to go over the edge of the screen. So you see this is a little bit too big, so maybe if I bring it down to about 60, that should be about perfect. All right. Yes, I know I spelled thumbnail wrong, and I could have re-recorded this entire video, but it's already about 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and this video is supposed to be uploaded tomorrow, so I'm really sorry that I didn't re-record this, but I know I spelled thumbnail wrong, and just gotta get over it. Please enjoy the rest of the video. And then for the top, I'm just gonna do how to make. It's also too big, so I'm gonna go make it a little bit smaller. Now we're gonna bring this right behind my head. So now this is the base of how I make it. So now I go to my text. Obviously we don't want it black and we want to make it white. So now we have that done, we wanna make it a little bit better. And we can give everything a little bit of a more finished and polished look. So what we do now, we right click and go to blending options. And now we have this tool set up. So then once I'm here, I usually just turn on bevel and emboss, and then I turn on a drop shadow just to make it a little bit more unique. And now that it's right there, I can drag it below my head to have my head in front of it. If I want to go a step further, I can go back to my image that I made earlier and turn on a drop shadow for that as well to give it a little bit more of a 3D effect. So now that I'm done with the top part, what I want to do now is change the color of the thumbnail, and I'm just going to make this red. Actually, you can't see that, so I'm going to make this yellow. The yellow color I like to use is FCFF00. I don't know why I like that one, but that's just the one I memorized. And now we have a bright yellow thumbnail, and we're going to do the same thing. Go to blending options, and we're going to do bevel, and then we're going to do drop shadow. So this is pretty much the basics of it. And the last part I want to add to this thumbnail is the bars that I'm actually holding with my hands. So what I have to do to get the bars, I just downloaded an image from clip art from the internet, and now I have this. So this is the part where you want to be a little bit more creative, and you want to actually make the bars fit your hand. So you see now the bars are entirely too small. So the only thing I do is I just keep dragging and stretching the image until the bars fit my hand the way that I want them to. You actually have to make it quite a bit bigger to fit your hands exactly. So you see that's a little bit too big. Let's see how that looks. A little bit too big. So you just want to play around with this part. I'm probably going to fast forward myself going through this part just so you don't have to watch me do every single step. So I believe that this is good enough. So now that we have our image created, obviously it's not very high definition, which is good for a thumbnail image. We can then go to blending options on here and then do a drop shadow as well. So this doesn't look good as a thumbnail. So what you want to do now is be a little bit more creative. The first thing I'm going to do is hide my words just so they're not in my way. And then we're going to rasterize this image as we did earlier so we can start making some deletions. So you zoom in on your image and click your eraser tool as always. And now what you want to do is just erase the part that the bar is covering your hands with. So extremely simple. You just want to have a quick erase. I don't take very long on this part at all, and just erase everywhere where you would be holding the bar at. And now that very quickly looks like I'm holding the bar. So then I can bring my words back, and obviously I don't want thumbnail behind the bar, so I can drag thumbnail up above the bar to have it in front. And if I don't like the position of how to make, I can just drag that over here as well. So then I just play around with the positionings of the words in order to make it look as eye-catching as possible. And then at the end of it all, you're left with something that looks kind of like this. So that's how I make my thumbnails. I actually did a recent poll on my channel of what videos you guys like to see the most, and a whopping 0% of you guys voted for Adobe Photoshop videos. So this video might not do the best, but it's something I enjoy making, and I love making content that helps people, especially small content creators, get themselves a boost up any kind of way in the YouTube algorithm in order to make their channels more successful. Aww. So that's pretty much all I have in today's video, guys. Make sure you come back on Thursday because I will be talking about my first official sponsorship where I got almost $300 worth of free stuff from a pretty big company, and that is going to be an amazing video, an amazing unboxing. The machete is going to come back, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going super fast over here. If you want to see a video on how I use Instagram promotions in order to grow my YouTube channel, then leave a comment down below because I love making videos about YouTube analytics. But with that being said, I don't want to drag on you guys' day any longer, and until next time, peace.